And then that's when I say, well, okay, well, then you don't understand federal jurisdiction. You don't understand how the Constitution empowers the federal government to do exactly what it's doing. And that place in the Constitution, this is the law of the land. So if all those people who want to know what is the law that requires most people to file and pay income tax, that would be Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17. That part of the Constitution gives the federal government exclusive legislative authority in all cases whatsoever in that 10 square miles of Washington, D.C. That would include Guam, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, American Samoa. They have exclusive legislative authority in all cases whatsoever, so they're not limited by the Constitution in their jurisdiction. And another thing that's in their jurisdiction is that 15th Amendment federal citizen that is subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Just so you know, your income tax doesn't go to run the government. Read the Grace Commission report on government waste from the Reagan administration. It's called the Grace Report. It says not one nickel of the income tax goes to run the government, but it goes to interest payments and transfer payments on the debt. So you're not funding anything in government.
And you just have to, if this is really something that your heart says that you should be doing, then I encourage you to follow through with it. You know, life is so full of what ifs and I should haves. And, you know, you should, if this is calling you, what are you waiting for? I mean, rip the Band-Aid and do it.
The IRS is just doing what you've allowed them to do. It's your paperwork. You said this is true, correct, and complete. That's what I think is always funny, where that's what you're swearing on an IRS form, is that it's true, correct, and complete. And so I ask, I say, have you studied the tax law? No? So how do you know if it's true? How do you know if it's correct or complete? They're going to be the ones to determine if it's true, correct, or complete. And yet you're signing under penalty of perjury. I'll sign pretty much anything. You know, just give me some government form, I'll sign it. I don't care what it says. I don't read it or I don't understand it, but I just want to sign it because that's what I'm told to do. And that's what people do. And that's what the IRS does. So once you change that sentiment and you don't go in, you know, back into it and have bad paperwork, then IRS is not, you know, is not pursuing people that aren't in that jurisdiction.
There's a huge amount of people in the U.S. now who are really getting upset about where their tax dollars are going, and it's mostly going to murder little kids and, you know, just, you know, anywhere but to help anyone in the U.S. And so I could see a lot of them being very interested in this. So feel free to share it with those types of groups. Now, I don't know how many clients you can handle, and I also don't know what the process is. So let's ask about the process. So if someone's watching this right now and they're like, yeah, I live in Michigan, I'm paying, you know, $30,000 a year in federal income tax, I want to stop it. They contact you. What happens after that?
Well, usually we talk with them. They tell us, you know, where they've heard this information, things like that, and then we determine whether they want to do our workshops where they do their paperwork, or we can prepare their paperwork, which is more expensive than if they do it themselves. But even if they do the workshops and do it themselves, we have, if they don't understand something or they're having a difficulty, they want us to run it by us, we have fees that they can pay so that they at no time ever have to feel alone or doing this all by themselves. But if we do their paperwork, they'll usually fill out, we begin by doing a passport process, because just like they showed in the Browns trial that they had sworn that they're a U.S. citizen, we know that if they have passports, then that they have made errors, and we want to correct those errors with the State Department in that process. So we'll have them fill out forms so that we can prepare those documents accordingly, and then and we have a hold harmless agreement for all of our clients, because we want to determine that they're not a federal citizen, because we don't serve federal citizens because they have income tax liabilities. We recognize that, as the tax code says, that all U.S. citizens, regardless of where they live, and resident aliens have an income tax liability. And so therefore, if someone is a federal citizen, then this process won't work for them, and they have obligations to file and pay income taxes. So we want to make those determinations, and then we have classes for them to take so that they can see these choices and whether it works for them. Some people receive benefits and financial benefits from the federal government. They have a tax liability. Some people have pensions and some people work for the federal government in some capacity, and even if they work for state governments, they may be in those systems. This is not something for them. If they're receiving benefits from the government, then they're going to have an income tax liability, of course. And but most people who work in the workforce, they're saying or believing that they have these obligations, and so that paperwork has to be changed. So we determined that when they fill their hold harmless agreement out, and then once we have their paperwork, we'll prepare their documents. We email their documents so we can review it, make sure that everything is grammatically correct, the date is correct, and we explain all the elements of the explanatory statement that goes along with the passport process, and then they submit their documents either at a post office or they'll go to a passport agency, and the federal government, the State Department, will review the documents, and if they have more questions or any concerns, they'll write, and then we'll address that, or there can be some back and forth with the State Department, and then ultimately the State Department will issue a passport when they feel that the person qualifies. So these processes have been, all of our paperwork has been looked over by the State Department from their legal department. This is just doing what you've allowed